Hey guys, how's it going? Jabber Gaming Jaws here. So today I wanted to come to you guys and talk about gaming stores, particularly retro game stores. I'm not including GameStop or Best Buy or any place that you can go and buy current only new or used games. This is more like the mom and pop stores that sell old school games. They might sell modern games too, but mostly like a store that you could walk into and get any game from any generation that you want. Um, so I've done a lot of shopping around. Um, Ideally, my favorite places to look for retro games are not game stores. I like going to Goodwills and thrift stores and yard sales. That's where you're going to get the best deals. Obviously, the game store in particular, they're going to have a pretty good idea of what they have and what the value is, and you're going to be paying at least close to retail. Um, and that's okay, like that makes sense. A lot of the times I'll go to stores like that just because it's nice to have all that selection right there for you, which is really cool. There are a couple things though. Some stores do this whole thing really well, and I've been to other stores that just really don't. And there's a couple things that I think I was just going to talk over about what I look for when I go to a retro game store. Probably the first thing that I would say a retro game store needs to do in order to be legit and to get me to come back as a customer is their prices need to at least match eBay, if not slightly beat them. I don't expect a retro game store to be way under eBay. Um, when I go to a store though, if it's over eBay, that's absolutely ridiculous. Like I can sit on my couch at home and pull up my eBay app, Amazon, whatever, and have it shipped to my door. If I can have it shipped to my door for less than what I'm buying it from you at the store, then there's a big problem with that. Um, Another problem that I see happen quite often, and this is really obnoxious to me, when I go into a store and they don't have prices on games. Um, so basically, what happens is you go in, you see something that you want. How much do you want for this? Oh, well, let me look. And then they look it up on eBay right away. And they're going to charge you pretty much all the time the very top that they're able to charge, which is a lot of times over what the sold listings on eBay are going for. So a lot of times they're looking at an average of the buy it nows, and they're trying to get as much as they can, which makes sense, but that's not what I'm there for. Like I'm looking for at least a decent deal. um, I'm not gonna pay over the sold listings on eBay. um, and the other thing about it that's just obnoxious, it's like um, there was this one store I went to, and I was looking through this huge mess of loose Genesis carts, and the store owner's like following me around and like looking at everything that I'm looking at, and I happened to see Gunstar Heroes in this big lot of what they thought was common Genesis games. So I asked him, how much are the Genesis games? And of course, well, which one? So I point out like three different ones, and of course they take the whole stack, go to the computer, look them all up. Oh, this one isn't supposed to be in there. It's like do your research ahead of time then, like because he's then wanting to charge me full price for this game that they didn't even know was uncommon or more than a couple dollar game, and it's like I'm not there to do your work for you. Um, if you want to like put prices on these that reflect eBay, then get on there and figure it out before I come into the store. Like I don't need to look through your games and basically pull out the ones that are uncommon or worth something so then you know that's really obnoxious. Another thing, I I do not sell things back to stores. You obviously are not going to get the value out of them. That's totally understandable to a point. I had one experience where I had an extra PSP that I wanted to get rid of. This was way back when I had first gotten into retro gaming. Since then, I just don't even try. If I'm going to sell something, I usually will stick it on eBay or, at the very least, a Facebook group. Um, So I had this PSP that I wanted to sell. So the store, I had asked them before. I said, okay, so how much do I get if I want to sell something? Oh, we give about 50% um, of whatever we're going to sell it for. You can get that in cash or um, credit. You know, the credit was like maybe a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I call up the store because I'm like, I want to test this out. So I call them up and I say, how much is a PSP? And they're telling me it's $60. So I can go to the store and buy a PSP for 60 bucks. So in my head, I'm like, okay, great. So that means I can go in there and sell it to them for 30. So I go in and I said, okay, so I called on the phone and you guys said that you're selling PSPs for 60. Oh yeah, we got them for 60 bucks. So I said, all right, so great. So you guys give about 50% on store credit. So I'd like to sell my PSP to you guys. I'm looking at getting about $30. Oh no, they can't do that. You know, they're looking at more like $15. So, you know, it's just bullshit. Like that kind of stuff, you know, and he started telling me, oh no, actually, we've been planning to have a price drop on the PSPs. Of course, didn't tell me that when he thought I was a customer coming to look for a PSP. That kind of shadiness just is such a turnoff. The other thing that I would have to say a store needs to do is treat your customers with some level of like respect. There was one store I went into and they had Final Fantasy 3 slash Final Fantasy 6. It was on the SNES, so it's in the glass case. It doesn't have a price on it, of course. I'm looking for a copy of Final Fantasy 6 because my copy is gone. I lent it to somebody and never got it back. So you know, when I go out and I see a copy of it, I'm just like looking, seeing if I can get a decent deal on it. I don't want to pay eBay prices. You know, I will eventually probably because that's a game that I want to own in my collection in really, really good condition and complete in the box. So eventually I will hit eBay and I will pay full retail price for it. But, you know, just passing by at a shop, you know, if I find one that's maybe like 10, 15 bucks cheaper, then I would get it somewhere else, then, you know, I might jump on that. So I'm just checking it out. And, you know, I asked this guy, and he must just think that I'm like thinking I'm going to get some super deal. He's like, oh, that one's really expensive. That's like a $60 game. First of all, you know, at the time, eBay was about $45. So he's charging way more than retail and also acting like, you know, I'm trying to get some deal over on them. It's like, man, put a fucking sticker on the cartridge. Like, put a sticker on it. Like, I have to ask you how much it is because you don't put prices on your games, you know. Uh, I never went back to that store. I was just like, this is ridiculous. So, there are some stores that I have found that I absolutely love. My favorite chain in Michigan actually is Disc Traders. Disc Traders has multiple locations, and you know, I would rather support the smaller guys, but these guys just do it better. Every single cart, every single game, every single system, every controller, everything in the store has a price on it. You know exactly what you're getting. Not to mention, they have deals going all the time where, you know, if you buy 5 games, you get the sixth one free. Um, you every time you go in, you can put in your number if you have a membership with them, which is free, a free membership. So when you go in, you type in your number at the little kiosk thing, and on your 10th one, you get 20% off of an entire purchase. It was really fun to like, you know, plan out when I was gonna make a big purchase. It's how I bought my first PS4 back in the day. A couple of years ago. You know, I planned out like I was getting a bunch of games and I was getting the console. You know, so I'd do the buy 5 get 1 free, also getting 20% off the entire thing. Um, and at the same time, like their prices are not much below eBay, but they're at least at or below eBay. And then you add in like the extra savings, and it's totally an enjoyable experience for me to go in there and do business with them. I feel like I'm not getting ripped off. I feel like I get to see the things in person as I'm buying them, which is great. And that's one thing that you don't get to do when you're buying stuff online. Plus, you're out shopping locally. You know, it's just a fun experience. So I really, really appreciate that store. There's another store around here, and there's a couple in here in Pennsylvania that I found that I do like quite a bit. let's see, Game Traders Club, I think it's called. There's Game Traders Club, and then there's Complete Inbox. Complete Inbox is in Ephrata, and Game Traders is in Annville. And I really like both of those stores. Complete Inbox, I have to say they're above eBay prices, so I like going there. They have free arcades, which is cool. Everybody's always nice when I'm in there, but way too often I will see things that are priced above eBay, and I'm just not doing that. Um, Sometimes you find stuff that are at eBay, and I'll buy a game then, but I'm not. That's not my first go-to place to find deals. They have good selection, but again, it's just kind of pros and cons. Like I'm not gonna go there and shell out a ton of money, on a regular basis. It's more like every once in a while I'll see something that's a decent deal and I'll pick it up. Um, Game traders, I really appreciate. The guys are really nice. The prices there are good, at least at eBay or slightly below, and they just have good selection, and then it's just a fun place to go and see what they got. That's the store that has the VR set up. My friends and I have had some real fun times going in there and just like paying $5 for an hour of playing VR. I've taken my family to do that, and multiple times they've just said, "Nah, don't pay anything. Just go ahead and you can just play it for free." And I just think that's cool. Like that makes me feel good as a customer, like I'm valued a little bit. Like that's great. Um, so these are just some of my thoughts about different stores and things that they do. And I'd like to hear what you guys think. What are your favorite stores? And what are some of your experiences, good or bad, shopping in different places? How often do you use eBay? Where do you sell your used games? There's actually one other store around here. Their prices are ridiculous. This store, like every time I go in there, I just laugh my ass off. Because their prices are just so exorbitantly high. But what was really hilarious, I actually took a game in there to see what I would get, um, you know, credit wise, and that actually was reflected in how high their prices were. So even though their prices are really outrageous, I actually got really good trade credit. So, like the trade credit that I got for this game was literally like eBay price. So I was like, oh, fuck it. Okay, sweet. I traded that in and a couple other things and got a replacement Saturn about a year ago when my other Saturn had broken. So I don't know. There's ways that you can work around stores like that. Um, Anyways, again, guys, like to hear what you think. Talk to you later. Peace.